one of the first memories I have of training with you was at one of Mr. Poliquin's events. He called them Discovery. And you were teaching a series of movement patterns that you called the supple spine.
Oh,
And you were moving in a way that was real foreign to me. So I know that there were a lot of folks that were, specifically paying attention to what you were doing, because it was something that it seemed at the time that only you could do, but you did it quite well.
Thank you. I remember that was really interesting. I was invited to teach, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm invited to go and teach in a place where everybody gets to train with my teacher all the time. I can't just rehash.
No pressure.
So I had to do something, kind of new. And I had been paying attention to this guy. He was amazing. Scott Sonnen, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Okay, did I get it right? This is way back in the day. And this guy, oh, okay. So he did a lot of this Russian ground fighting jiu-jitsu, and I don't remember what it was called. And he would move. What?
It was called Sambo.
That's it. So he had a lot of these movements where you could really kind of, absorb things. And then combined with my dance history, where we're constantly isolating all the little joints in the body, then I started experimenting with that. And I realized that I could generate power, through a bit of a movement that would and I could absorb things and I could get around things. And it augmented the kinds of things that we were doing. So that's what I ended up teaching. And it ended up being very well received. And so I got invitations to go to a whole bunch of other dojos around the country to teach workshops on that. And, that was neat. It was neat to have that well received.
But why then? Sorry. No, please go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, but my first memory of you, Hardy, was training in a breakout session at Festival Out in the Yard. And I don't remember who was teaching. It might have been Master Russo, or I think it might have been. And it was some kind of, punching exchange, and it was real raw and it was real gritty and modern and everything. And we didn't know each other from Adam. And, at that time, I knew me. I knew how, hard hitting and whatever I was, but other people didn't know that about me. And guys certainly didn't know that about me. And so I went over to you and it was like, want to partner up? And I remember this kind of look like, sure, and after 5 seconds, that look turned into, yeah, all right. And we ended up from that moment becoming like, anytime there was like pair up, we'd be like, you, me, now. It was awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's how I gauge my my favorite training partners. The more you like them, the harder you can hit them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Tori, let me ask you, why is it that you decided that you were going to start phasing yourself out of training?
Oh, what a great question. So as you may have noticed, I have switched careers a few times in my life. And so I got to this point where, I had been in that fifth degree, place for a while. I had written and published a nonfiction book called Empowered Living. I had a online store. I was doing all this kind of stuff. Now, what you may not have known was that 13 years prior to that, I had written a novel. I had been doing a bunch of screenplays, and one of them earned a semifinalist spot in the Academy Nicole Fellowship, which was kind of a big deal. And everybody who read my screenplay said, ooh, you should really be writing novels. And so I took their advice and I did, and I wrote a novel, and it felt great and I loved it. And I started to submit it. And I realized back then, my kids were very little. This is just before I got into martial arts, really got into martial arts. And I realized that in order to really, make it a career, I was going to have to commit to it wholeheartedly, the way I've done everything else in my life. And at that point, what I really wanted to put my time on was raising my 2 sons and pursuing martial arts. So I put this book in a shelf. And also there was something about, I knew there was this business of writing, and honestly, I didn't want to do the business. I was not a business person. Well, here I was now with an online store, and I had, a clothing line, and I was, teaching seminars and a blog, and I had a website, and I'm like, and I had a book, and I'm like, I'm kind of doing business. It's not so bad. And also at that time, I had been dying to write another novel, but I had no story. I was like one of these few, authors who yearns to write with no story. And so I had just come across a new idea, and I was starting it. And I got about 3 chapters in, and I thought, I should check out that book in the closet. And I did. And I went, this has got some legs, but I need to learn my craft. So if I'm going to do this, I need to commit. And I can't do it half-heartedly. I mean, when I was training and teaching, I took that responsibility of being a senior person very seriously. So I was training every day. I mean, I would put in 10 hours of video studying. I had books and stacks of books of accumulated notes in addition to teaching and training. That took a lot of time. And I was traveling, and I knew I couldn't do both. So what I did was I timed the transition to coincide with my 50th birthday, because I thought, this is going to be powerful. So at that time, Anshu was doing a whole bunch of Kuji seminars, and I had been going to all of them, and there were a couple more. And so I made a point of going and doing that. So I was getting the last bit of training that I wanted to get, because the last few years I was really more interested in the mind science, and I had already kind of started pulling back, and my hips were going. I ended up having a total hip replacement.
That's right.
There was that.
That's right.
So I timed it all. So right on my 50th birthday, I was like within a couple of days of that, I was in Ohio with Stephen, last Kuji seminar, everything, stopped teaching, the whole thing, and just timed it right there. At that time, I really didn't realize I was going to stop training. I think when I saw you last, Scott, it had been after that point, and I had actually stopped training for like a year and a half. And, kind of
in Boulder, when we saw each other in Boulder.
Yeah. So I kind of put myself on the spot and doing a demo, and it was like super rusty and everything. But I was like, Tori, you can't do this half. It's got to be all in or nothing. For me, it has to be all in or nothing. So that's why I stopped. Writing is a full-time thing. I mean, I work, 6 to 10 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week.
Oh. Wow. Well, it seems to be, definitely paying off, with everything that we've seen in your activity on social media, and the different, the tours that you've been on to promote the book when the Ninja Daughter first came out, and now you're about to get things geared up and going again for the Ninja's Blade. And, what would you say if you were looking ahead over the next 5 years? What does the next 5 years look like for, Tori, the author?
Well, I look at writing as the new profession for the second half century of my life. And with the way medicine is, leaping in bounds, I fully expect there to be a third half century of my life. So for this second half century, this is what I'm focused on. So 5 years from now, I'm seeing myself continuing to write Lily Wong novels. I see myself also having published novels in maybe other genre, because, I'm an eclectic person. So I see no reason for me to not be an eclectic author.
I hate to interrupt. Pardon me for one moment. I'm stepping away for just a couple of seconds here. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. This is so mysterious.
Yeah.
So that's so funny. Certain authors are like, mystery authors or psychological thriller authors or crime fiction authors and things like that. I didn't realize I had written a crime fiction book until I wrote a crime fiction book. And then I discovered the crime fiction community, which has been wonderful. But I have other books that I've written, and they're not in that crime fiction genre. So I'm very much looking forward to sharing some of those as well.
You were speaking a few moments ago about sort of the some of the last stuff or the things that you were most interested in at the end of your training being the mind science training.
Yeah.
Does that make an appearance in the Ninja Daughter and the Ninja's Blade? And can you tell us a little bit about how it may?
Yeah, it very much does. So, I have a whole Tendai Buddhist practice that I learned through Stephen Hayes, who is also a Buddhist priest. And of course, we have a lot of mind science practices. And I already mentioned that I have been a lifelong meditator since I was 12. And of course, that has been in many different kinds of meditation. So it was important to me, for me, that whole Tendai Buddhism and, that aspect is entwined with ninja practice. It's entwined with my ninja practice. And so I wanted it to, show up in Lily's ninja practice. So she's got this super cool home dojo that's right in the middle of her apartment. She literally has to walk across the mat to get from her bedroom and the entrance to get to the living area. And of course, she's got a kamidana and a kamizan, a Shinto shrine, but she also has a Chinese Buddhist ancestral, arc. And he put on his Warrior Quest shirt.
No.
Oh no! Oh, it's not. It looked like a Warrior Quest shirt. I'm like,
I'm sorry I had to step away, but sometimes things won't run if they don't have power. So.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a problem.
I was on 2% power on my laptop, and I had no idea where my cord was. So there we go. Full disclosure. There's my ninja secret.
That's hilarious.
It's all good.
Okay, but I was listening to you the entire time.
Okay.
So.
Okay, good. So yeah, in answer to your question,
yeah.
Lily has all that kind of cool stuff. And I think that's part of the neat secret ninja stuff that I wanted to share too.
Awesome. I'm so excited that Toshindo has and ninjutsu, in a broader sense, has a voice in this crime fiction world. I'm glad that there's somebody out there that's going through the sensationalists, the smoke bombs and shurikens and black suits and katanas and that sort of thing. Ninjutsu, the modern practice, needs a voice like you out there. So I know I and everybody in Toshindo appreciates what you're putting out and how you're helping, raise the tide that lifts all the ships in this sense. So thank you so much for writing that book.
Yeah, it is really fun to see the progress that you're making. And, you've got, as you've kind of explained to us in the brief time that we've had, such a rich history with entertainment and performance and bringing that into the world of Toshindo. And, the longevity that you had training, and now you're transitioning to becoming a full-time, very, a successful author in your own right. And you're still actively part of, the Toshindo community. So, that marriage, I think, should go for a long, long time. And I know that, we've had other women that have been on the show, and it's important for us to not only highlight the successes that we all have, but to make sure that Toshindo moves forward with a strong woman's perspective. And I think everyone, and now including yourself, although everybody comes from different backgrounds, but it's the uniqueness of those backgrounds and what they've done with it and how it's kind of blended into Toshindo as a way to move forward through your life and the principles that are involved that makes you another kind of shining light as well. So thanks so much for spending some time with us, and keep that light burning.
Oh, thanks so much. This has been really wonderful. And I really appreciate you guys inviting me on your show.
Could you tell folks out there how they could stay up to date with what's happening with you and with Lily Wong and all of your books?
Oh, great question. Best thing, go to my website, torieldridge.com. You'll find all my virtual events are on the Connect page. You'll find the books page that has everything you want to know. There's also a book club page that has a whole bunch of bonuses. You can subscribe to my newsletter. I don't send it out very often, so I won't, overtax you. And through there, you can find all the social media. But I'm really fortunate in that there aren't any famous Tori Eldridges out there. So if you just Google Tori Eldridge, oh my gosh, I'm everywhere. I'm not hard to find.
I will say
Awesome.
to those of you watching, if you would like to see the demonstrations that we shared on the screen here, they're on Tori's YouTube channel. And that's what I did. I Googled Tori Eldridge demonstrations and it popped right up. And there are some demonstrations that we viewed. There's some self-defense tips. There's Tori swinging around big sticks and teaching you how to do that. It's all kinds of great videos up on Tori's YouTube page.
Oh, thanks.
Very
I
cool.
forgot all about that. Oh, you know, I did want to do a shout out to your local bookstore in Chapel Hill. It's called Flyleaf Books. And I just got through sending them like 50 signed and ninja stamped book plates.
Awesome.
So if you order your trade paperback copy through Flyleaf Books in Chapel Hill, they'll be able to send you, this kind of, bonus. And it's got that chop that has our warrior name and, the To-Shin thing. And it's very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool
awesome.
as well. So be on the lookout. The Ninja's Blade drops tomorrow. We're definitely looking forward to getting our hands or our eyes on copies of that. So thank you so much. And we're looking forward to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more volumes that should be coming out. So, you didn't realize we also, at the end of our show, we make your plans for you. So if you want to see what the last 13 guests have done, all you have to do is watch our show and we'll let you know what their history or what their future holds for them as well. So
that takes a load off my mind.
Yeah. And why we will say thank you for being on the show. We will also say you're welcome for your upcoming successful continuing career. Tori, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Tori. It's so great to talk to you.
Seeing you in the future. Take care. Bye now.